It's the energy of we people, something pulsing inside. It beats in every soul, a feeling we cannot hide. It's always pushing us forward, the limit up in the sky. There's rhythm in how we flow, a rhythm that can't be denied. It's in the feeling in how we talk. It's in the meaning in our spark. It is the thing that sets us apart, who we are. Cause the rhythm of life keeps pumping.
It's Monday, the 30th day of June, 2025. Another beautiful day in my Twin Island paradise. I actually call this double slice of paradise. And from the studios of winnfm 98.9 on your FM dial, it's just about 5 minutes past the 10 o'clock hour. Another presentation of voices. My name is Socrates, host of today's program. We say good morning to all the folks up there. We can say good afternoon, good evening to the folks in the various time zones because we're global. So wherever you are at this time of the day, or afternoon or evening, pleasantries from the studios of WinFM. As we send out shout outs to Sister Sylvian Henry, Dr. Mervyn Leader, Dr. Irvin Sweeney, of course, Mr. Val Monish and family. Beulah Elliott down there in Newton Gowan. Mr. Derek V. Freights, haven't heard from you for some time. I hope all is well with you and yours, sir. And to Miss Rosemary Donald, Amber Lewis, and of course, Queen Anastasia. We also pause to send condolences to those in mourning, the loss of loved ones. And though no one ever knows exactly how you feel, even though they say, well, we understand how you feel, they don't really know. We know there's a mourning process, there's always the healing process, and this always happen in time. This brings to mind today is the interment of a person we know as Culture. We gather today at the Rivers of Living Waters to celebrate his homegoing. That's happening this afternoon. I think I'm going to be there. So we commiserate with those who are grieving loved ones. And as I said, everything happens in time when it comes to the healing. There's a season for everything, a time for mourning and a time for healing. Okay, we also wish safe travels to the thousands of visitors who grace our shores, whether for the music festival or for other activities. Be you heading back home today, tomorrow, in the upcoming days, I trust that you truly had a most fantastic time with us here. We wish you safest travels throughout. Someone said to me, Q, that there were no Antiguans in Antigua. Somebody said to me that there were no Antiguans left in Antigua. I know there was a large entourage, a contingent of Antiguans here having a most wonderful time. And this is based on the videos that they posted. I'm very happy to hear that. I was in Antigua over the past weekend. I was well received, very well hosted. So I know how the Caribbean vibes, and they're giving up for the carnival. But part of the discussion was the music festival, how many want to be here, blah, blah, blah. So it's summer festival time. They have a great package coming up. And we had a mini carnival here, so to speak. As a matter of fact, it was over there in Antigua that showed me we have Music Fest Juve. You would know, so we count the blessings as we move on. I was able to interact, of course, with some Dominicans and St. Lucians, and they alerted me to the fact that they were doing a survey, a debate, as to whether we have any potholes. So they were doing the tours and the various things, and she just said, "Hey, we have a discussion. We have yet to see a pothole in St. Kitts. Now we know, our infrastructure is good, and we have issues with certain areas, but it takes time. But it's good to hear other people from throughout the wider Caribbean. We're not talking about North Americans, our neighbors, praising our infrastructure. So it makes you feel good, right? The Dominicans were saying, "Hey, we haven't seen a pothole." And there was this one lady from St. Lucia. She was part of the press corps, determining that she's going to move to St. Kitts to live. She has some remarks about her own country. She says she's in, I think, special ed. And she thinks that the program that we have here are pretty much developed and advanced. And she would like to move here to work, etc., live and work. So these things kind of reminds you that, we got something good going. So we give praises to the folks. As a matter of fact, I have this question. Maybe you can help me. When the government, say Public Works, would have resurfaced a road, and then shortly after you find somebody, maybe a resident, who wants to install running water, and they have to dig up that road to run a pipe across to their properties, and you have to repair that. Who pays for that?
I don't really know.
But in your mindset, we've just spent thousands or whatever millions to resurface a road in a neighborhood, and then maybe a week or 2 or 3 after, because I've seen it done, somebody's running a pipe, as we call it, into the yard. And then maybe it takes a while before Public Works have to come and deal with that. Because I saw a bit of it on the roads heading west. There were some areas that were disturbed, I would say, because of that. And then over the weekend, even Sunday, I saw some guys from Public Works filling those areas. So now it's smooth to drive on, it's good again. But it crossed my mind, who pays for that?
I don't know who pays for it, but that is a great point, because that is one of the main factors that contributes to the deterioration of the main road. I remember during the period of unity when the main road was done, the whole island main road, and next thing you see people digging these tunnels, and whenever you do that in an infrastructure that is solid, you create a weak point in it.
Correct.
So it's the first part that is going to get a pothole or so forth. And I would have thought that whenever you're doing planning, you either put certain things, whether you're going to put 2 main pipelines on, let's say you go from let's say you have a 2-mile radius, right? Just join a hypothetical, and you start for the first quarter mile, and you say, on this side of the road, we're going to put the pipe, right? And at a certain point, you're gonna have the main pipe go under the road, but at a certain depth, and then from that, after that quarter point, for the next quarter point, the pipes continue on the second side of the road. Now, and then at the third quarter point, you go back. So it's a zigzag kind of thing. So whenever you're doing infrastructure now, rather than you having a housing construction and you have to be digging up the road, you have
to
a
accommodate.
Yes,
person on one side or the other.
All you have to do is go from that quarter mile, and you have within that area you can do it, and the same on both sides. It's a sort of a zigzag. But you would think that people who are doing planning will be, innovative enough to think about these things, but they don't.
I recall.
And one of the things people are not aware, but when you study things like electrical engineering and so forth, you study these things, because I have a degree in electrical engineering with the emphasis on civil, engineering. And you have to study these things because you have to study how you're going to lay your water lines, how you're going to lay your electricity lines, how you're going to lay your telephone lines. So when people go away and they come back with degrees, they know how to do these. But so why aren't we see them?
Are they engaged? Because these are the technicians, these are the technocrats, but of course you have a...
But don't you have them in public works? And as far as I know, you have engineers in public works.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
And another part of engineering is even after you finish studies, the institution that you studied with, they give you updates. So years after, you get leaflets and so forth that keep you abreast with modern technology. Yeah.
Issues.
Yeah.
I recall some years ago after the road heading west was resurfaced, and then within a week or two, down at UMHS, that vicinity, they just dug up the road and there was one particular driver who was upset.
Yeah.
I think the government should make them pay for it. So that brings me to mind the question, what happens? Because that's part of what helps the road to get degraded.
Yeah.
But I was really happy because we know we have our challenges. It doesn't matter where we go. Throughout the region, you'll hear the locals talking about issues with the government and maintenance and so on. So one has to be mindful.
Yeah.
You're going to have challenges.
And this happens because, again, you see the zigzag scenario I gave you? If you have that zigzag scenario, no matter what side you build on, whether it's water or whatever, you
minimizes,
don't have to dig up the road.
Yeah.
You don't have to dig up the road. But when you have all the pipes laid on one side and then you have building on another side, you see what's going to happen? Because you want
because
water
John
or whatever.
just build or you want to upgrade, have indoor plumbing and they dig up the road.
Yeah. So let the engineers use what they've learned to come up with concepts to move into the future.
All right. Speaking about the roads, I've not been to the Southeast Peninsula for some time, but I heard some taxi drivers bemoaning the fact that the roads hanging over there, the verge, the overgrowth of the trees is causing some serious concerns. They spoke about the fact that a certain area was addressed, maybe just to accommodate the White Sands event. But going further along, the roads need to be, so you have to engage somebody who will address that because it is actually a traffic hazard, not only to our visitors, but to our drivers on the road, and they're really concerned about that. So for the folks who may be listening.
We seem to have a caller, so we're going to take that. Okay. After this caller, we're going to take a commercial.
Okay, caller, good morning. You're live on Voices. Welcome to the program.
Okay, we lost
a caller.
Okay, let's take that commercial break, and caller, when we get back, you can call.
Found the Sound 98.9
Need to get your goods to St. Kitts and Nevis? Look no further. TDC Shipping has you covered with reliable cargo solutions by land, air, and sea. Whether it's a package from across the world or a large shipment of goods, TDC Shipping makes it easy, affordable, and stress-free. And with our Airbox service, ordering from your favorite online stores just got even easier. Ship straight to your mailbox and let TDC Shipping handle the rest. Fast, secure, and even to your door. Visit us today at the C.A. Paul Southwell Industrial Park or Penny's Industrial Site, or call 465-2511 in St. Kitts or 469-5430 in Nevis. TDC Shipping, where reliable service meets unbeatable convenience. TDC, together we succeed.
Campari, Red Passion, embrace the mix.
Campari, Red Passion, full action, this is Red Passion. Embrace the mix, add Campari, make it turn and twist. Add your chaser in your drink. Campari, Red Passion, make the nicest mix. Campari.
Campari Red Passion, embrace the mix. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
It's the energy of we people, something pulsing inside. It beating every soul, a feeling we cannot hide. It's always pushing us forward, the limit up in the sky. There's rhythm in how we flow, a rhythm that can't be denied. It's in the feeling in how we talk. It's in the meaning in our spot. It is the thing that sets your rhythm flow.
Once again, good morning and welcome to today's presentation of Voices. The lines are open. We have a caller. Good day, caller. You're live on Voices.
Good day, Socrates.
Mr. McMahon, how about this?
I'm good. I'm very good. It's always heartwarming to hear other people comment on how good or things like roads or infrastructure.
That is correct.
Yeah, it is. It makes one feel proud.
Pause to, reassess our attitude sometimes.
Well, not necessarily reassess, because everything is comparative,
That's true.
And actually, it's nice that the potholes were fixed in time for music festival, because a couple of weeks ago, you could have seen the frantic effort. I mean, potholes that had been there for quite some time were filled. It reminds me of the old days when the Queen was coming.
Willie Wawa. There was a guy from Antigua named Willie Wawa who did a song called God Save the Queen in Antigua when the Queen was about to visit. And he spoke about the potholes and all the stuff that were addressed. So he said, God save the Queen. So the same thing applies. I hear you.
Yeah. But it's all good. It's good that they had the good sense to at least put on a good show for our visitors, and that they go back
with a positive.
With good memories.
Definitely.
Let's hope they maintain it, though, right? Because that has been the problem. And one of the ways that they can maintain is, as young Quinn just suggested, having the parallel lines on both sides.
On either side of the roads.
The road every minute. In some other areas, well, you can't do it in Bastille, because Bastille is old, in inverted commas. But certainly in the new housing areas,
yes,
they can do like what is done in some places where in between let's say you have houses, the houses in between the houses, so to the back of them, there is let's say 5 foot or so space that you run all your services, right? So one, you don't have to be ripping up the roads to the front, okay?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, and secondly, it looks much better in terms of not having the overhead lines and so on at the front of the development.
Yep.
Okay? Of course, the ideal thing is to put everything on the ground, but we know
especially in a hurricane zone.
Well, yeah, right. You have to make an investment, and we could do that. Any new development should have those things, and gradually improve the others over time. Another thing they can do, too, is have paving stones instead of concrete sidewalks, so that it makes putting in services
a lot easier.
Repairing services much easier.
Correct.
Okay, because paving stones are easier to replace than having these blotches of concrete to refill and so on. So and that thing. But yes, it was a good feeling to hear those kinds of reports. It was unfortunate that people were still having water woes around there, though. It is a pity that they didn't extend that to that. Somehow find a way to
There's
24 hours
a certain hotel I know.
Huh?
There's a certain hotel I know, which name I won't call, who the managers said to me that she have to choose between the swimming pool and water for the guests. So if you look at the swimming pool, it's half full right now. But you can't have both.
I mean, you think for the 3 or 4 days that we really make an effort to do that as well. Make sure that those services are provided. I know power went over this side as well. We really should have made an effort.
At what time?
To make sure that even that stays on just for those periods.
Okay.
Just so that we certainly have a good impression. And so going forward, we obviously still have a lot of work to do on those services. And I hope they really put their backs to the wheel and try and maintain and maintain them, because maintenance is really a problem.
Very key.
Yeah.
Tell you, I was impressed. This is Sunday afternoon. I'm heading west, and Public Works is out there working. Sunday. So I tell you, there was an effort that really ran over time, but we do appreciate.
You know
all
who,
efforts.
you know who we must also commend? The parks and
Parks and beaches.
yeah, because
every time.
Sunday, every day, I see those people. I said to myself,
Every time.
wow, they are hardworking people.
Yeah, yeah. I wish when you were talking about the peninsula, yes, it's true. Some of the places over there are overgrown. And you'd think if they have the appropriate equipment, it doesn't have to be manual, they can keep it much better than it has been kept. Okay? And worst of all is to the terminal for the, well, not terminal, but the place where we catch the sea taxis. Right. I mean,
there's a question
that
about
is
that.
atrocious.
There's a question about that. There's a question and answer about that has to be addressed. First off, there's a gentleman I know who offered his services. He has a cherry picker. And you know what I mean by a cherry picker? That can actually address the overgrowth of the trees in the road, overhanging, and the verges.
You mean that's the thing with the arm and the...
Correct.
Right,
It is vertical.
Yeah. Something that I was thinking, yeah.
A cherry picker, he has one, and he applied for the contract. I don't know if it's political. He didn't get it, but that would be quite appropriate to have it.
Something that would definitely help.
Mr. Mark, we have another call on the line.
Okay.
We have another call. Let me accommodate this one. We'll get back to you. All right? Thank you very much. Good day, caller. You're live on Voices.
Good morning, Brother Socrates.
Good morning, sir. How about thou?
I am humble and peaceful.
Sound
Good
like
morning,
me.
Brother Quint.
Good morning.
Brother Quint, I thought I heard you said you are an electrical engineer.
Yes,
Am I correct?
Yes, I did.
This is Winston. Welcome. Let me just remember to always announce that. Quint.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, and it's still in my mind, I had a model. Are you aware of motors and generators, etc. and etc.?
Yeah, but I don't really want to go into too much of those technical jargons, because as
No.
you know, I'm kind of up there in age, and I finished studies so many years ago. I don't like to go. Even here, I have another co-worker, Flames, and he's young, and a lot of the minor things I don't get involved in them. He's learning, and I'm sort of trying to groom him along the way. So I don't want to get into too much technical jargon.
Okay. Let me just reveal this. I was saying that I would have been the first clinician to have a project, an apparatus that can be self-produce electricity by itself, no fossil fuel or anything.
Yeah,
And when
but
I heard you as a
you and I spoke about that long ago. I don't forget one thing.
You?
Yeah, you and I spoke about the motors, and I remember referring to in particular the motors that come out of washing machines and that kind of stuff. So yeah, we did have that conversation sometime before, and depending, I remember telling you that depending on the kind of wiring that you would put into that motor, once you get something that a battery connected to it and you can allow it to turn consistently, it will produce its own electricity. I remember we had that talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I got you. It was you.
Yes.
Well, I need to release it, but I want to be involved. I don't want to give it to the Shark Tanks or any other nation. So it's a very powerful apparatus, still already. But it's in my head because I really didn't want anyone to copy it. But I was looking at a document in Africa.
But caller, this is Socrates' show, this is why Socrates chose to engage me, and so but this is Socrates' show. So speak to Socrates. Yeah.
Mr. Welcome.
Yes, sir.
Is everything well with you and the family?
Repeat that again?
Is everything well with you and the family?
Yes, sir. Everything is fine.
Call the blessings first. Okay? Perhaps one day we can have you on the program and we can discuss in more detail what you want to get out with the public. How about that?
Okay.
Okay, much appreciated. Okay?
Thank
The lines
you
are
very
open. Thank you for your contribution. The numbers to call are 466-0989, 662-0989. From the New York area, you've got 718-285-6948. From the UK, 033-344-0065. And from Florida, we've got 305-921-4619. I want to say good morning to Chris Warner over there. We have a caller. Chris, I'm going to get back to you. Good day. Call you live on Voices.
Good day, Mr. Socrates.
How about those, sir?
Good day to Quint again. I'm blessed in the name of Jesus Christ, as always, by
Amen.
His grace and spirit. So greetings once more in the name of Jesus Christ, the only Savior of sinners, from their sins and from hell, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now,
Amen.
First of all, I would like to say, Socrates, first of all, I would like to say, again, I would like to say once again condolences to the young lady, family,
Her family,
and friends.
yes. I was going to bring that up. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to say condolences to them, and my sympathies goes out to all of them. Yes, it's a very sad thing. Well, not just for she, but for all others as well that have been killed. Now, what I would like to say is that, as I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to repeat it again, the scripture says, well, in the English Standard Version, it says, the love of money is a root of all kinds of evils. Now, when you deal with the devil, God allows him many of the times to give those who deal with him, he allows the devil to give them riches, fame, power, all sorts of stuff. And those people, they think that because they gain those things are good with them. Things going nice. As a matter of fact, a lot of them think that they're even blessed of God. Okay? Even though they're dealing with the devil.
Okay, clue me in. You said you said this earlier on, so clue me in to what this relates to.
Yeah, so, and it relates to all of these entertainment activities we have by the government, especially by the government, and especially the music festival that just gone. They are all nothing less than being demonic. Okay? They're all demonic. Be it the music festival, be it the carnival, Culturama, the village festivals, you name them.
They're all demonic.
They're all demonic.
All demonic.
Yes, they're all demonic. But we think that because a lot of people might come in and attend them and all that sort of stuff, and business get boost and all that sort of stuff, that it's good for the economy. It's good for the place. But when you're dealing with the devil and the devil give you these things, it may look good to you, and you may consider it to be good, and you may say you're doing a good thing. But in the end, it's for your destruction. In the end, it's to ruin you, because when these acts, vulgar, degenerate acts, take place, they corrupt minds. They increase your crime problem. They increase poverty. They increase hardship in your economy. In the end, it make things worse for us, especially for the poor.
And you said this earlier? You said all of this earlier?
Well, I'm using different words, but basically the point is the same.
Okay, you made this point earlier, and I get where you're coming from, right? But other person will look at it from a different angle and disagree with you. We accept that also? Because there's some things we do that are celebrations of our development.
To be quite honest, I believe at least 99% of the country disagree with me. The Federation disagree with me.
Okay.
To be quite honest.
So you're the lone voice crying in the wilderness?
Well, I believe there are one or two others out there that just might not be on the radio.
Okay.
One or two more out there. So what I'm saying is that. So what
okay,
I'm
have
saying
you made that point before? Get to your point, wrap up, let's get some other callers in, okay?
Yes.
I have this caller standing by actually.
Yes. So what I'm saying, going to say quickly is that. What I'm going to say quickly is that. It's go beyond the physical and the material. The root of it is the spiritual, and it is for our undoing. It is not good in the end because it will all destroy us. And one of the reasons why life is so hard to them with all these crime problems is because of all of these things plus others. I'm not saying
got
just
you.
Got you.
I do have this call on the line.
Okay, thank you.
Much appreciated. Good caller, you're live on Voices.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, you sir.
To that caller, I think he should spend a little more time trying to lobby his church colleagues more.
Yeah, but you do your thing.
Because
You deal with your call. I understand it. You got the mic now. You deal with your points. You got to make. You want to make.
Yes, I understand. No, the reason why I said that is because if you look at most churches today, I'm not going to say all, but most churches today themselves are demonic because they have gotten liberal and given way to the world, which in return makes them demonic. You know, in my opinion, from what I see, most churches are run by Satan.
So you actually called to come to him, is that it?
Not necessarily that, but I just felt like
Get to your point.
As well.
Get to your point. Get to your point.
You know?
Because he's going to call back, you're going to have a tit for tat. Make your point, let's go.
I understand. I understand that. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. So, in a sense, you're right. I called to counter him.
You know they're going to call the bacchanal, right? But it's okay. It's good because it's called Voices. The program is called Voices.
He can't refute that. You could look in all the churches and see. You can't refute that.
You want me to get into a debate with Greg Week? No, man.
Yeah. Church, Sacro.
Yes, sir.
Sacro, churches today are not the churches you and I went to.
Okay.
All right.
That's true. But people are more enlightened today. People are more enlightened today than the days we went to church and we just took everything hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, but even so, there's a thing, eh? There are much more information today, and people's brains are overloaded with information. One thing I could tell you.
Yep.
At a certain point, the brain does not distinguish good information from bad information.
Got you. But here's what. We have a next caller on the line, so I want you to hear what they have to say also.
That's fine.
Okay?
Beautiful.
Much appreciated. Right. Good to caller. You're live on Voices.
Yeah, good day to you, man. Yeah, how you doing, the king, man?
Counting my blessings. All is well.
Yeah, okay. I think on the previous show, we started talking about, somebody was talking about, like, censorship.
Censorship.
Mean that, with the recently conducted music festival. Weekend,
okay.
Yeah. Like, I don't think it's a good idea for our young daughters to be seeing certain vulgar behavior, like.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good idea to maybe think about some narrative about censoring, and having an age set, especially
age-appropriate performances. I heard Q and the former guest speaking about parenting, which is tantamount to the whole thing.
Yes. Parenting is definitely
tantamount to the whole thing. If you have certain acts coming in, certain children of a certain age, it has to be age appropriate. Right?
Yeah.
I recall when 50 Cent, the BMX came to perform, they were told that they should not use expletives.
Yeah,
it was written in a contract.
Now we are looking at Spice and Cartel on stage at all of these adult shows.
Yep.
At all of these appearances. And nobody can tell me that behavior on stage is appropriate for our young daughters. Myself, I have two daughters, and my daughters, them is actually growing up now. So they're getting up there. They're already gone up to the age where
we normalize this behavior.
They're almost on their own. But these things, we definitely are normalizing all of these ills,
and what somebody will say to you, right? That they have access to them on their phones.
But
so they have access to these things on the phones.
And you guys were talking about infrastructure before, right?
Yes, we were.
And we ain't seen nothing revolutionary in terms of, development and progress for the in St. Kitts and Nevis.
You've seen nothing revolutionary?
We're not seeing nothing revolutionary.
Example.
I mean, look at the south side of Nevis.
The south side of Nevis.
Just like how that peninsula road was made, and he opened up development on that peninsula.
Mm-hmm.
I left Nevis in 1985, and up to now, with all that money that came into the St. Kitts Nevis, a road should have been built from the Bat Plains all the way around the Indian Castle in Gingerland at least, in the first instance, and then continue on around to like Butlers and Brickland and back around to Castle. But the initial stage from the Bat Plains over Bat, straight around the coastline of Nevis, and go straight around to Indian Castle on the southern east side of Nevis.
Well, here's what. Maybe after the geothermal anything comes into play, they can generate enough revenue to address those concerns because it takes money, right? So bear that in mind. Development is happening.
But we had the money. The King, I'm going to tell you my opinion.
Yeah.
We had the money with the CBI program already. We had the money necessary.
But Nevis keeps saying they're not getting their fair share. So that could be one of the... Nevis keeps saying they're not getting their fair share. That could be a factor, right?
So where's that fair share report? Is it on the Dr. Drew's bed or on the Mark's bed?
Okay.
But different than that, let me pick it back to the observation.
We're going to pause quickly for our station break, so make the point quickly, please.
Just one quick short point. Short point. We need to maybe invest in building some low-budget hotels, either on either island. I would prefer those kind of hotels be on Nevis, not to compare with the high, the 5-star and the 4 stars over in St. Kitts. Because when they have the music festival and stuff like that, at least people can come over to Nevis and stay at some low-budget hotels and still be able to come over on the boats when they have such events as music festival and St. Kitts.
Okay, here's what we're on.
I'll leave it there, man.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I mean, I'll pause to give Caesar his due. We'll be back in a moment.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
It's the energy of we people, something pulsing inside. It beating every soul, a feeling we cannot hide. It's always pushing us forward, the limit up in the sky. There's rhythm in how we flow, a rhythm that can't be denied. It's in the feeling in how we talk. It's in the meaning in our spot. It is the thing that sets us apart. Who we are, 'cause the rhythm of life keeps bumping.
And tiles. It's the company where you can get it all. All at TDC, home and building depot.
And we're back. The lines are still open. 662-0989, 466-0989. We have from the New York area 701-8285-6948. And from the UK, 033-344-0065. From Florida, 305-921-4619. Welcome back to Voices. We have a call on the line. Chris, I'm going to get to you. Go to call you live on Voices.
Socrates?
Yes, sir.
It's me again. No.
Go ahead.
No, I agree. 100% with the caller who said that most of the churches are demonic.
Okay.
I would even strengthen it and say not only most, but the overwhelming majority of the churches are demonic. I mean,
this is Gregory saying that.
Down. Hello?
This is Gregory saying this, right?
Yes, Gregory Gale, who live in Middle Island, saying it.
Okay.
Yes. Now, they have thrown down the Bible for power, money, show business, and everything else that is of the world. And I lay most of the blame, not all, but most of the blame for the crime problem, the worsening poverty problem, and the speck in society and the degeneration of society and the filth in society and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
I lay most of the blame.
Okay, we have a call on the line also, so let's see if we can entertain both at the same time. Good day, caller, you live on Voices.
Okay, the King, I wanted to get back in because I wanted to just kind of explain what I just threw out there to you. When we have these big events in the Federation, right, we are complaining about, like, not enough space. The OTI hotel would have been a hotel that could accommodate some persons, at least over this music festival here. But instead, the OTI hotel is closed up. And the government should look into...
That property has been sold, as you well know. So it's no longer the OTI hotel. That property has been sold.
But you see, when we don't have the vision, this is what I'm talking to. Yeah, I know it's sold. It's private now or whatever. It was owned by TDC, now it's sold. But, you know, we should have thought about keeping that hotel in control of the government or the people of St. Nevis. But locally, there are persons who got money. They should think about investing some of their money, man, that they're sitting on. The idea of us, the idea that I just threw out about some low budget hotels, you know, we have two islands, yeah. We got the 5 stars over in St. Kitts. In Nevis, we should at least think about putting some low budget hotels over there. Even if they have the events in St. Kitts, persons probably won't even mind to come and stay at the low budget hotel in Nevis and shuttle over on the ferry because it will still probably be within their budget. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the option of staying at a 5-star in St. Kitts if you want to. But we should definitely think about developing that south side of Nevis, just like how...
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, just like how the peninsula side in St. Kitts got developed. And that's all I really wanted to say.
All right, thank you. Let's hear from Gregory. Continue, please.
Yeah, so, Socrates, what I was saying is that the reason why I lay most of the blame for the destruction of society, the degeneracy of society, the ills and evils of society, mostly at the feet of the church, is because Jesus told the church, hey, you are supposed to be the salt of the earth, the light of the world. In other words, in society, you're supposed to be its salt, that preserving the goodness in society, being the conscience of society, and shining your light in society to lead people correctly, so that you are not the blind leading the blind and everybody falling in a ditch, but that you are leading them in the light. And you're supposed to be the pillar of the truth in society. But instead, they have ditched the Bible for the things of the world, money, power, fame, show business, etc.
So they're now also demonic.
Yes, and so because of that, they become very, very demonic, and society is suffering and being destroyed as a result.
Okay,
as
Gregory.
a result. Yeah, of the church abdication of his God-given duty according to the Bible. Secondly, I also place a lot of it the problem blame as well, also at the feet of the government, but mostly at the church. Thank you.
Much appreciated. Here's what. When Music Festival was conceptualized some years ago, my understanding of it was as a marketing tool. To market the Federation during the summer or the off-season, because in the cruise industry, we have the off-season. Example, we have coming up shortly Restaurant Week. That's going to be held down at the Eco Park. We also have Mango Fest, another marketing tool. They may not make any money, but it helps to market, because marketing your tourism product, your country, or whatever, costs a lot. Right? I understand now many of the acts that they bring in for Music Festival has the whole question of morality, because you're talking about your youth, the influence that music have on them, the negative music have on them, but you're bringing certain acts that runs counter to that. You will have that ongoing debate. Certain acts I would not have on certain programs. We're talking about the mechanism to have age-appropriate entertainment. And the question of children, we know who children are, the age grouping, they should not be allowed there. Have programs for them. But then again, as I mentioned, you have the counter that they have all access to all these vulgarity on their phones. So the horse has bolted already. And when these things happen, we react to these issues. Why bring this act? You know the repertoire, we know the content that they bring. Why bring it? But we have a good time. And as I understand, because I can't speak from first-hand experience, I had access to go to the shows. I refused to go. Because some people can't speak to me about morality and about how to live my life with their history and what they represent in their lyrics. So I choose to stay away. But I understand when this particular artist came on stage, everybody was singing his songs. Some years ago, I was in Barbados at a certain hotel. And as I look out my window, I saw an area where a lot of young people, school-age children, carrying on and party, and the smoke was so thick. I'm thinking, really? Really? So we have concerns, and it's right to express them. How do we address them? How do we, at this point in time, address them? Because, as we say, you cannot monitor or censor what these children are exposed to via the various platforms, TikTok, this, that. So we're in that age where we have to get remedial, speak to your children as best you can, when you can, and hopefully what you impart to them will help to guide them. But en masse, the horse done left the stable a long time ago. Chris Warner in Antigua, I know she would have loved to be here for the festival, unable to be so this year. I know next year she'll be here, right? She was one of the attendees of the workshop that I conducted a few weeks ago in Antigua. Well, last weekend, just over about 10 days ago, and really enthused about the music. Okay? So we, at this point in time, what do we have? We got 10:53. Let's take a quick break and come back and wrap up the next 6 minutes after. Thereabouts.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
If you need insurance, our service is the best. Home motor insurance can give you more for less. Property insurance can save you a lot of stress. At TDC Insurance Company Limited, we care about your investment. Guarantee you peace of mind. The best team in the business. Guarantee you peace of mind. No other company will guarantee you peace of mind. Together we'll succeed and guarantee you peace of mind. TDC Insurance Company Limited, where you get more coverage for less.
Campari. Red Passion. Embrace the mix.
Campari red passion, full action, this is red passion. Embrace the mix, add Campari, make it turn and twist. Add your chaser in your drink, Campari red passion, make the nicest mix. Campari!
Campari Red Passion. Embrace the mix. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
It's the energy of we people, something pulsing inside. It beating every soul, a feeling we cannot It's always pushing us forward, the limit up in the sky. There's rhythm in how we flow, a rhythm that can't be denied. It's in the feeling in how we talk. It's in the meaning in our spot. It is the thing that sets us apart. Who we are, 'cause the rhythm of life keeps pumping.
To our viewers and listeners, welcome back to today's presentation of Voices. I'd like to read from an article that was sent to me early this morning, so if you can hold the lines for a second. It's a kind of sad but hopeful issue. And it reads, let me go back. A few days ago, I was sent some information that our King Ellie had succumbed. He was in a coma, and they were concerned about that. Now I have an update. I have an update now, and I'll read. The maestro King Ellie out of coma remains under close observation, and this is by Caribbean music legend, remains conscious in Florida. I'll read again. The maestro King Ellie out of a coma remains under close observation. Caribbean music legend remains conscious in Florida. Bassist in Kitts. In a wave of hope and relief sweeping across the region, Elston Ellie Nero, the beloved national icon and musical maestro, is reportedly out of the coma and has regained consciousness, according to sources close to the family. Just days ago, social media lit up with the heartbreaking reports that the 10-time Calypso King and 7-time Road March winner had slipped into a coma while undergoing treatment in Florida, in a Florida nursing home, where he has been living while battling chronic kidney disease. King Ellie has been on twice-weekly dialysis for over a decade. Ellie story is one of triumph and musical brilliance, a self-taught musician who began his career at age 8. He has composed over 100 original songs and led the legendary Ellie and the Jazz Brass, which dominated the Caribbean music scene for over 2 decades. Holder of the Medal of Honor in the year 2000, inducted into the International Soca Hall of Fame and recognized by the Organization of American States, OAS, in 2016 by his cultural, and it says by, his cultural contributions. Ellie remains a towering figure in the Caribbean history. His timeless anthem, Viva St. Kitts, I Love St. Kitts, still echoes across the airwaves every morning on ZZ Radio, a daily reminder of his love for his country and the pride of his people. So, as I said, this is a bit hopeful. It's a sad story overall, but last week, it made the rounds. He's in a coma. And I want to thank Brenda O'Neill for sending me that article this morning, because I made note of it to address it. But this is uplifting. I was going to speak about the information I gathered that he was in a coma and that we were asked to pray for him, etc. We still have to send the prayers up, but this is hopeful. He's out of the coma. He's regained consciousness and trustfully doing better. And I'm glad that people are able to listen without interruption. It's one of the things that we have to be reminded of from time to time. There's been many, many debates, even here on the station, as to how he should be recognized, how he should be celebrated, more appreciation should be shown to him. I would say successive administrations would have made, I guess, promises, and the challenges as to how should we bring him home, how do we honor him, etc., etc. And sadly, the fact is a lot of folks get their flowers after.
And that is really sad.
That is very sad.
When it comes to Ellie, Matt, look, say one, say two. You see the examples that we're showing to our young people. You have Vibes Cartel coming here.
Don't get me started, but go ahead. Go ahead.
And he portrays a degradation. I don't care how you want to twist it and turn it. It is vogue, it is in vogue, it is in fashion, but it is a degradation of society. But yet still you give him all these accolades. You don't have a problem. If it is true, let me say this, if it is true that he got $3 or $4 million.
Close to.
Okay. But here you have an icon, a representation of St. Kitts and Nevis that is known throughout the region. Trinidad and Tobago paid him tribute, and you're going to let him die without you at least, and governments have come, and governments have gone, and all of them are the same, PAM, Labour, PLP, and they're going to let him die and not give him the kind of commendation and representation that he deserves. And you think that's a good example you're setting for your young people? You think that you're telling your young people that they will be appreciated in the future? At the same time, you have all these stars coming from abroad and you're giving them all these accolades and megabucks.
Megabucks.
I mean, come on. I just felt I had to interject there.
And I appreciate that. I do appreciate that because you need to hear from all sides. But the majority, the consensus is, politics apart, this man deserves every honor. National award is one thing, but you're in a time of need. Let's take this call. Go to the caller. You're live on Voices.
Yes, good morning, sir. Good morning,
Good morning,
this is Winston Wells.
Yes.
I'm going to read your quote. A king is not honor in his country.
Is without honor.
A king, he's not honor in his country. And Ellie Mack is a big example, and others who have left. Because what our stars get and where we are now, we are not there. We go where we're going to be recognized. I close with that. Thank you very much.
Appreciate your contribution.
Look, Ellie Mack has a song that is a unofficial anthem. Viva St. Kitts. Every time we speak about national pride, you're going to hear that song, whether in schools, in churches, wherever, and you're going to let this man die, and nobody's going to give him commendation.
Well, we all pass, but it's how you're recognized and honored while you're yet alive,
well,
not
look,
after.
Look, this is why I keep putting emphasis on, are you going to let... Look, the Creator works in mysterious ways.
Mm-hmm.
He was in a coma. He's back out of the coma.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you say? He's cognitive.
He is, yes. He's regained consciousness.
Yes.
Based on the article I read, yes.
So we don't know how long this will be. So what I'm saying, I'm not much of a talker. I didn't ask people to be put in this position where you put a mic in front of my face. But since it is the way it is, I'm going to say what I feel in my guts. And in my guts, I'm saying the Creator allowed this man to live. And you're telling me that Labour, PAM, PLP, you have Labour in power now, and nobody... Okay, so he sang song and he said, my sister is Labour and I am PAM, and blah, blah, blah. So you're telling me that we don't have anybody mature enough in the political sphere to say, don't let this man die before we... And let me tell you something, Socrates. This is my feeling. people are so foolishly stubborn, especially grown up, so called intelligent people, and especially those in positions of power, that just because perhaps we say it and we say, are you going to let him die? They will let him die. They will do it because their attitude is no one must tell us
Should not
when
be
to do.
challenged. Should not be challenged.
No, not so much challenge. No,
No. You're saying they should not be challenged.
Yes, no one must tell us when to do whatever we're going to do.
Hear this, right? Alfonso Bridgewater and I were friends. And we would text each other back and forth from time to time, you know. And then when I heard that, because he let me know he was receiving treatment for his ailment, I knew that. He was traveling. And when things were looking good, he would let me know. So we were cool. When I heard that he was being honored by naming the building after him, the Olympic building, I felt so good. I was texting a man, congratulations, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know he was on his way out. So at the last moment, with them realizing that he was passing, they went to name the building after him. I was wondering, how come he's not responding?
Yeah.
I didn't know then he was transitioning, and so they hurriedly went and named the Olympic building after him. And at that stage, and you know his contribution over the many, many, many years.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you his personal contribution to my life. But before I say that, I remember when he was, you know, the place was named after him, and Mr. Knight.
Yes,
he was
Freddie.
virtually in tears, you know, because he felt like this was long overdue.
Yes.
But I'm going to tell you my personal look. As I've said on numerous occasions, I was a juvenile delinquent. Look, people didn't expect, and I myself didn't expect that I would be here, alive.
In this capacity?
Because I was heading down down a road that was like, man. But I remember when I was in school, I was always, the one thing, I was always bright. I was always what people call a brilliant, young man.
Mm-hmm.
And this is another point. We tend to feel that the people involved in crime and so forth, that they are unintelligent. That is one of the biggest mistakes we're making. Some of the most intelligent people, they're involved in nefarious things.
Behavior. Okay.
They're involved in crime and other things, not always because they're bad people, but because sometimes
circumstance.
Life takes you down a path. So in school, I was always known as
troublemaker?
No, not a troublemaker, because I never was rude to my teachers. Never. I took education, seriously. But I would run away from home, and my mother wouldn't see me for like 13 days on a straight, right? But I would always find time to go to school. You understand?
Okay.
Even during those periods when I would run away from home. So after a time, people became aware that I was running away from home because my mother would be asking about me. She would wind up at the school. So there were times when I would wind up in class and my mother would turn up. And if anyone remembers how the junior high school was back in those days, where you would jump through the windows on the backside.
There you go.
And I would, so if I heard that my mother was on the premises, I would jump through the window, and that became a habit. Well, over time, because I was a bright student, I would always, whenever exams came up, I would pass. But you can only do something so long before it catches up to you, right? So there was a time when I was missing school so much, it was hard for me to cram, it was, and the end of the year when we did exam, I passed, but I was so foolish. Look, I want young people out there to hear when I speak. I was so foolish and full of myself that I felt I'm brilliant, I could pass anything. So whenever you gave me my exam papers, I would not put my name on them.
Really?
Yeah. I was so arrogant. So when, say you did your maths test or your whatever test, people would put their name sign. So instead of me signing my name I would just leave it blank, and I felt like everybody knew my handwriting. You know, everybody knew I was, yeah. But it backfired on me because this year now, they said they couldn't find my report, but they had it. But because
it wasn't signed.
It wasn't signed. They couldn't distinguish it. So they pulled some together that weren't signed, and my mother went up and they told my mother, well, these are what we have, and it comes down to 2 of them, and of these 2, this one we feel is your son's. Now the one that they said was mine was basically all failing grades. So you know
she
that
knew
was,
better.
she
knew better.
So she knew better. So she queried it. But because I was so attuned to missing school, and there was a particular headmaster at the time whose name I won't call, who kind of felt like, okay, he misses school, he deserves to get some penalty. So they decided, the school basically decided that I was the failing one with the failing grade was mine. But lo and behold, Bridgewater was a teacher. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And Bridgewater was, at the time, he was my maths teacher and he was also my English teacher. And Bridgewater made a big stink out of it. You understand? And Bridgewater vouched that this that you said is Patrick, this what you said is Patrick is not Patrick. I know Patrick. Mm-hmm. So I was able to pass. Mm-hmm. So you see the significance he had in my life?
Yep.
You understand? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and I remember when I was a grown man, years later when I was a grown man, he picked me up one day and he was taking me in his car and he made a statement to me. I was in the back seat and he made a statement and he said, something I said, and he said, Patrick, he said something that reminded me of my days when I was bad before I made a turnaround. And I said from the back seat to him, I said, Bridges, that is when I was a radical, right? And I never forget this. Bridges is driving, and he looks at me in the rear view mirror. Mm-hmm. I could see him, and he says to me, he said, Patrick, you're gonna always be a radical. And that is why today when people hear me and I'm outspoken and whatnot, when he said that to me, I thought about it and I said to myself,
yes, that's who you are.
That means that radical doesn't mean bad. It just means that you move away from the norm. And so I've always kept that with me coming from Bridges. Even when I left school and I got my degree and I wanted to get employment, when I was employed in the civil service in ZIZ, who you think I went to get what they say from a teacher, recommendation or whatever?
Bridges.
Yeah. So that man played a big part in my life. Hello, caller.
Yes. Thank you, Quint, for being very outspoken, man, on this element issues at least. The only thing I want to add, man, is yet we are trying to get a politician in the Federation knighted. Our politicians, them, I don't see how they're
trying to get a politician knighted. Is that what you said?
Yes, of course. That's exactly what I said, and I want the Federation to hear that. Ellie Matt deserve better than this, bro. Lele Shang Shang.
A little bit clarity. Did you say that you are trying? Give me a second here. Did you say that you are trying to get a politician knighted?
Yes.
How did that segue to Elimat?
No, I'm saying there been a talk that the Prime Minister is trying to get Douglas knighted. Let me put it like that, then, so you can hear what I'm saying.
Oh,
we don't want to address certain things, man. We don't want to. But how Elimat himself? Well, Elimat ain't made enough contribution for him to be knighted himself.
I see where you're coming from.
All right, man. You guys, thanks a lot, man. Have a good day.
I appreciate that. Let me get in trouble here, Chris, if you don't have a caller, right? Some years ago, when they had erected the roundabout at ECCB, a lady said to me, she's born in England, from Kitchener Division descent. She used to live here. If I say more about her, you'll know. Right? She said to me that she's going to jail. She says, I'm going to go to jail. I said, why? She says, that monument was put there to put an effigy of Douglas, a monument to Douglas. She says, I'm going to tie my car to it and pull it down, and I'm going to jail. And she spoke about that. She was a person in the UK. When the Labour Party would come up, she would organize the town hall meetings for them, etc., etc., etc. And then when she actually moved here to see how things were actually playing out on the ground, she had a whole different perspective. One of the issues she was told by the then administration, you don't have to vote in Deep Bay because Timothy don't need your vote. Come to Basel to vote. And she objected. And based on what she knew about what she says, I am going to go to jail. I'm going to tie my car to that monument. People feel passionate about these things. So we find the situation now, juxtapose that to Elimat, his contribution, and the many debates, conversation about how this man should be better appreciated.
I feel that Elimat should be given his accolades before he closes his eye. Look, I have my issues with Elimat, and I'm sure you have some.
Of course.
But when it comes to being as a musician and what he has contributed to us by way of making St. Kitts and Nevis be known, I've heard Burning Flames.
I was going to mention that.
I've heard Burning Flames singers and members say Elimat was inspiration.
But they're about to be united in Antigua.
I heard Daddy Friday say that Elimat. If you listen to Daddy Friday's music, it reminds you up to today of Elimat and the GI's Brass. And you're telling me that no one is going to give him his accolade? We have a caller.
We go to the phone lines. Go to caller. You're live on Voices.
After this caller, we'll take a break.
May Blazer caller?
We have another caller.
You're live on Voices.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir. It's actually, yes, good morning.
Good morning. Peace to you, and I bring peace from constituency number 7.
Number 7.
For the entire north of Nevis. My name is Lincoln David Pell. Interesting topic, but you see, it is not just up to, let's say, government to recognize persons. The community can do it. So, it appears that it is persons right now. I think there will be independence recognition. The applications, and if persons want him to be recognized, they can fill out an application and get him recognized. Because if we leave everything up to, as you all like to say, I'm into the politics as well, but I don't believe in such things. I come with a different perspective.
Well, caller, let me interject. Caller, I agree with you, I agree with you to some extent, but I still believe it's a cop-out. I believe you're making it easy for the government to then throw up their hands and say, well, let the civilians do that.
No, sir. Listen carefully. What I'm saying.
There's an honor committee that we recommend.
Listen.
That's what he's referring to.
Day after day, we keep saying the government is not doing. I'm just giving another way that it could happen. Because you yourself, both of you there, could recommend him. That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying, as opposed to wait for, he does recommend. It is up to them now to,
He's got a point.
And then you could say, at least we tried.
That is why I agreed. So Socrates, then, you should be foremost in terms. Are you aware of this body? He's speaking.
No, there's an honor committee, because when I received my award, I queried, so did you recommend me? Because they didn't just snap it out. Somebody had to recommend you.
Yes.
To the honor committee.
You can recommend him. Yes, what I'm saying. Both of you there, even if you Socrates, you could do it by yourself, even Queens, and then you might have maybe 100 persons recommending him. That might even be stronger for him. At least you have 100 persons saying, this person should be recognized. Should we deny that? And if it doesn't happen, then the 100 persons could come out here and say, well, look, I recommend him, and everybody says,
we petition on his behalf.
Recommend him. Why it didn't happen?
So that is why.
I'm just giving another perspective of how things can be done.
Are you there?
And we agree. And we agree with you. So that is why. But I still feel the government should play a part. But anyway, that is why Socrates he knows a lot of things that I don't in terms of community development and associations and that kind of stuff. So then, Socrates, I would say the onus then becomes on you now to find a way to get a petition for Ellie Mats.
And you heard it live direct on FM. I've been appointed the head of the committee to try and get the appropriate recognition conferred on the gentleman. I'll do what I can. I'll reach out to the persons. Second?
No, I am one person who believes give Jack his jacket. Now, I know, like Quint said before, and some persons are politicians are the same. Not true. It's far from the truth, because if any one of you get into it right now, then you fall right into the bracket and you're the same. What I'm saying, I'm just here to enlighten persons as well. That if you see anybody in society, or know anyone in society who would have done something great, as opposed to wait until they pass on, hey, this person should be. Now we have these recognition that come from state, which we have our highest medals. And then you have something that comes from the British Empire as well, where we could recommend up to knighthood. So what I'm saying, I'm just letting the public be aware. You don't have to wait on government. It could be a sport group come together. It could be a community group come together. It could be even the Calypso group come together too. What I'm saying is that it do not have to be one set of person being recognized at a time. It could be a footballer. It could be a James Street. What I'm saying is that recognition could come from who recognize somebody for something great that they think the person is beyond any other person to do. And that is why in some countries the highest award is just limited to a group of people, because there are these people who went more than some others to get not themselves forward, but the nation. And that's what is important, the nation. They didn't get paid for it. They volunteered, even if they were getting paid for it, they went beyond the call of duty to get something done. So what I'm just saying is that going forward, we as a nation could be looking at it this way. So that persons who we know deserve being recognized and awarded could be. It could be, so I'm just saying, just put some like that. But I just want to say condolences to the young lady who...
Her family.
It's a sad thing,
Her family, yeah.
So, as someone who was in the law enforcement, I would make sure that national security and law enforcement get what it deserves to bring certain things under control. I'm not going to go too in-depth with it, because law enforcement is a wide thing. Now, national security and law enforcement are two different things, because you're securing, but you're enforcing laws.
Got you.
So I'm just saying, as that I would speak to, because I'm speaking on behalf, of the people that's moving. When we get into government, we have national security and law enforcement program that we'll bring in place to ensure national security, our borders are protected, and so things like that. Just giving you a little heads up.
Yeah.
That is what our party believes in, to make sure our citizens, our nation, our assets are well protected. So I just want to end there by saying, we just have to pull together as a nation.
Yeah.
Even when Quint was talking about the church and so forth, you know what? The churches are made up of people. And if people are not changed when they get into the church, that means the church is not changed. If you read the scripture, it's a change. And that is why I'm saying is not everybody are the same. Not all politicians are the same. Or else, when other races say, black people are the same, that means they're correct. When everybody's going to say, Kittish and Nevis are the same, that means they're correct. When they're going to say, Calypso are the same, that means they're correct. When they're going to say, Radio, you understand where I'm coming from?
Got you.
They have to differentiate it there. Some persons, because not everybody.
Yeah.
So,
Mr. Pearl, appreciate that. Very much so.
I just want to end by that. God bless you all. God bless St. Clair Nevis, the most important. God bless Constituency 7.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Got you. Thanks for your contribution.
Let me say this. Look, I hear the caller. I've always said I don't have a monopoly on knowledge. I was not aware of how one gets nominated. That is why I asked you, Socrates.
There's a nominating committee.
Okay. But hear this. I still feel it's a cop-out, right? I hear what he said, and at no time did I or Socrates say all politicians are the same. I did say that so far all of the parties have gone down the same road as it relates to Ellie Mac. okay? But here's this. He just called in and he says he's a part of the People's Action Movement. So I'm going to put the ball in his court now. If it is that Ellie dies before he is given some accolade, if ever the People's Action Movement gets back into a position of power, I'm going to looking for you as an individual who is a part of the People's Action Movement to do something about it. If not, then you're just words, you're just rhetoric with no backbone. Okay? Now here's the cop-out. So far we've had national heroes, right? How are they nominated? Who nominated them? I can bet you that the politicians were behind the nominations of those national heroes. You know why? Because all of them are politicians, okay? Now, I'm not saying anything is wrong with it, but here's the double standard now. So these politicians can put forward their own for accolades, but nobody else. So 10 years, 15, 100 years from now, what are we going to have? All our national heroes are politicians? So none can be an athlete?
We've even advocated from this platform for females.
Yes.
There are none.
Yeah.
All the national heroes are politicians, and no female who have made silent contribution to our development, we have none.
So that is my point. It's a cop-out because of the five national heroes we have so far, right? Socrates, I'm asking you.
Yes.
Okay, so 5 national heroes, and I can bet you they were nominated by the political party.
I won't argue with it.
So don't come and tell me we don't leave it up to the politicians. We never said it's only about the politicians. I hear, and I concurred, but I'm saying don't give me that cop-out story to eat, because he himself is a sort of a technical politician because he's aligned with a political party, okay? So when you and your party get in, you better live up to your words, okay? Hello, caller.
You have a caller on the line. Go to caller, you're live on the Voices.
Yes, good morning again, Brother Quinn and Brother Socrates.
Yes, sir.
First of all, to the nation and to the world, I beg to move that the King Elimat, while he is living, before he passed, to be a knighthood of the Federation of St. Kitts. I am officially doing it. When I win my seat in the...
Let's be serious, man. This is serious issues.
Listen, when I have to be confident, you know. Anytime I'm not confident about something, I wouldn't bother.
This is a serious issue, my friend.
I am fully confident. Okay? Yes. And not just Elimat. You is a contributor too, but we're elaborating on Elimat right now. Okay? I will not play politics because we are all equal. Okay? We are not supposed to be divided. And Brother Quint, I just want to say thank you because you have inspired me so much, maybe you don't know. Okay? I take your schooling, if you want to call it that way, as food for me in learning moving forward. But Elimat should be given that recognition before he died. We all show up at funeral when someone dead. But what happened in the living? No, he should get it. And he should have got it a long time before. From the moment he was sick. When you are sick, you are going down, but you could make a rebound. But no part of it, because the politicians that we have, they are so caught up in their own self-aggrandization that they don't remember nobody else. They don't even remember who voted for them. They don't even remember who was feeding them when they were a child. They are all hypocrites. That's why we need change. And that's why we need a new breed.
We have that process in place, Mr. Welcome. You have the democratic process by which you can effect change. So
yes,
but
the choices we made, sometimes we suffer. And the choices we made, sometimes we suffer.
All right, so thank you very much for your contribution. We now pause to give...
Let's give Elimat what he deserves, what he should, and he shall. Thank you for hearing me.
Well received sentiment. We go downtown now to give Caesar his due. and we will be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Let's stop child sexual abuse. The age of consent is 16, yet our 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, and 10-year-olds are becoming victims of sexual abuse and exploitation, which is being forced into sexual activity before they are old enough to decide. This causes mental, emotional, and physical harm to our children. Parents, it is your responsibility to protect and to educate your children. Develop a relationship of trust with your child. If they trust you, they will tell you. Child sexual abuse cannot be our norm. We must work together to correct this. Help us prevent, help us protect, help us prosecute. A message by the Department of Probation and Child Protection Services. Contact us at 467-1311 or 662-6833 for more information.
Found the sound. 98.9.
Attention, St. Kitts and Nevis. The countdown is on and time is running out. This is your final call, your last chance to save big at Hostos Automotive during our VAT Off Drive On blog event. It's your final call, your last chance to get up to $15,000 in total savings. No down payment, free servicing for 12 months, free bill of sale, $1,000 in groceries, or 3 months of free gas, free registration, licensing, tinting, and accessories, and 4% VAT off on top of it all. Yes, you've heard right. Everything free and 4% VAT off. But listen closely. This incredible sale ends when June ends. No extensions, no do-overs. This is your final call. Your last chance for the biggest auto sales saving for the year. So don't walk, run to Hostos Automotive now. Your dream car is waiting, and these deals are ready to roll. Hostos Automotive, where affordability meets the road. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to today's presentation of Voices. We go straight to the phone lines, but I want to mention, anyway, let's call first and go back to something Mr. Pell mentioned. Good day, caller, live on Voices.
Hey, good morning. I want to offer some advice to Mr. Welcome.
Go right ahead.
Welcome. I have a neighbor who is a Mexican, and he has a green card for 50 years. He traveled to Tokyo to visit his son on one of the military bases. And when he came back to the U.S. through San Francisco, he was detained. And he is now facing deportation procedures. And he has a green card. So, to you, my brother, if you plan to return home to vote, I suggest you pack everything and send everything home.
My friend, I'm laughing with you. This is the best laugh of the morning. We need this. We need this. I hope Mr. Welcome take your advice seriously. That's a topic we need to address perhaps in an upcoming program about how our people are being treated by this, We heard Mr. Brown in Antigua talking about the issue of challenges. We heard of travel for his nationals. We heard Dr. Keith Rowley, before he demitted office, speaking about they now have to get visas to go to the UK. And he said, we go for conferences. What do you mean? This whole Trump is a whole different thing, but I do appreciate your advice too, and your concern for Brother Welcome. I do appreciate it. Yes, Mr. Pell made reference to the incident with the young lady who was abducted and found murdered. I know before he left St. Kitts, there were many, many persons involved in the search party because it was a real national concern. It didn't end on a high, positively, but I want to thank all those folks who took their time out to go and search. It was a concern. Now, we sometimes hear, well, it's the next murder in the country and they blame the government. This person, who I happen to know, he is not known for that behavior. he wasn't in prison and you let him out on bail and he gone committed that offense. So one has to be careful when these things happen. One tend to blame, it's X amount of money for the country, and they go with negative, sensationalizing these things. I'm very sorry. We send condolences to the family. Those who is really heartbreaking thing. We saw a similar incident in Guyana, and it's happened because they're young people. They're young people, and whether they expose themselves to, nobody has a right to attack, kidnap, or hurt them.
And like you said, we can't blame everything on the government.
Of course not.
I mean, this has nothing to do with the government whatsoever. As you said, no one knew this individual to be that way inclined. And it just says that there are people out there, we don't know what's in their mind, when they do something, how are you going to blame the government? No.
I think it was something that went wrong and he tried to cover up.
Yeah.
And it's just sad because the young lady lost her life and all that, and the family.
That is so sad. I was listening to a program on Nevis, and I heard an older man say that he realized that there was a trend that a lot of these young people who were going through this kind of stuff were without fathers. I don't know about the young girl. I don't know if
I don't have any such information.
If a father was in her life, but he went on to say that, which was kind of good. He said that fathers, you need to be a part of your children's lives. And here's the part that I had a problem with him, even though he's partly right. He said, all you fathers out there, stop abandoning your children. And that is where I have a bit of a problem, because yes, there are fathers who abandon their children, and we say to them, do not do it. But there are also fathers who don't abandon their children, and
things happen.
Not just things happen. I could use myself as an example. There are mothers out there who try to, once you and them are not getting along, they want to dissect you from your children. And that is an elephant in the room that we need to address. Stop blaming all the fathers and saying all the fathers. There are a lot of mothers out there who are responsible for pushing. Let me tell you, Socrates, if I wasn't a strong man, I remember one time my mother told me, she said, look, I got some family in the States, we got some family in St. Martin. Run away, because your children, their mother gonna kill you.
Oh.
And I decided I wasn't going to do that, because I grew up and my father was all the way over in England, you understand? And I didn't see him until I became a man. I couldn't do that to my children.
Your children, okay.
But my kids, the two women who got children for me, they went out of their way to try to alienate me from my children. I had to. I remember my youngest daughter went to the guidance counselor in her school. She's a teenager, and she said to the guidance counselor, my mother don't want me to see my father, but I got to see my father. Me and my father have a good relationship. So I say all that to say, there are good fathers out there. You mothers, stop pushing us away from our children. Okay? You bad fathers,
step up.
Step up.
Step up. All right? I want to say at this point, good morning once again. We'll listen past there to Rosemary Donald up there in New York, a friend of the Federation. And they listen. They let me know, like Amber in Anguilla, she's also listening. And once again to Chrissy Warner in Antigua. Having yourself a great day, I hope. And let me touch on a bit of a reminder. Today is the 30th day of June. We were told 30 days have September, April, June, so I want to make sure I'm correct with that. We have a caller. Let's pause on this. Let's take the caller. Good day, caller. You live on Voices.
Good morning, the King.
Good morning to you, sir.
And this is a voice you have not heard in many, many months.
Clue me in. Clue me in.
Carl Brown, the King, you're losing it, man.
Carl, man, what you doing, man? Long time, I heard your voice. Well, how was it going with you?
Nothing much going on, man. When you're out in the field working and so on, sure, the station had in, the little issues and things.
Well, quick question. Keep the train of thought. Am I going to see you at Culture's funeral?
No, the king are out in the field right
Out
now
in the field
doing
right
a
now.
little hustle.
Okay, I understand.
Saying, today is the end of the month.
I understand.
Sorry, I had to miss that, but today is the end.
Yes. Go right ahead. You got the mic. Oh, Lord, Carl. I cut off Carl. Please. Let's hear credit one out. Carl, give me a call back, right? Prove him wrong. He said you don't have any credit, so please give me a call back. Right? In the meantime, we are 1 month into the Atlantic hurricane season, and one has to be cognizant of that. We boast that we are blessed. When hurricanes pass and nothing hits in kids, oh yeah, we're blessed. So this is just a reminder, we are still in the hurricane season where the forecast is for 17 named storms. 9 hurricanes, 4 will be developing into major hurricane category 3 or more. Let's go back to the phone lines. Is it Carl?
Yes, the king.
Yes, Carl.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, the king. As we are going out of the 4th month of the hurricane season, so far so good. All right? And we got to give God thanks and praise, and those of us who are making preparation in case of anything do come our way. And we will advise everybody, we can't ever fully prepare, but, we could do the natural, and we could make some preparation for the safety of our life and animals and, and our properties.
Yep.
Yes, the king, the Bastia High School, we heard that it had started at its original home.
They've begun the reconstruction?
Yes.
They've been having to change the song, man.
They have machinery up there doing digging up the ground and so on, removing soil and that sort of stuff. And the deputy prime minister had made a statement say the construction has started.
Again.
Now, the king, the concern about that is a lot of concern, the king. One, did you bring in local and international agencies to test to see if up there is safe for the whole community? I ain't just saying for the students and workers, but the whole community of St. Kitts. We all know the last issues and problem, and it turned into a political.
Was debated before. It always was debated before, yes.
Yes, but King, we are concerned. We are asking because we did not hear the deputy prime minister or the prime minister, no officials from education come and say, well, we bring in CAF or we bring in this, we have
and
the local
the green light it.
And we're going to do a test, and we are going to see what is the outcome before we start any construction. The king, that was supposed to be done, and the public was supposed to be alerted.
Point. Go ahead. Next point. The
other one, the impact study. Was that done? Is the public aware of this? 2, the construction had started, the king, and there is no board up at the Warner Park end to show the design and who is the contractor. Also at Park Range, there is no board up there to show that the construction has started and who is the contractor.
Have you raised this question anyway before? Any other platform?
And nobody can say in the king, Carl Brown and raise those questions on every talk show. And nobody could answer the questions.
Okay.
Right? 3, the king. In number 1 constituency. Remember, people could remember they heard the deputy prime minister say, when he did win, he said that the work there is going to be done for the tradesmen and contractors in number 1. But listen here, the king. The question I'm asking the Deputy Prime Minister, and I'm asking it on every talk show and nobody answering, what is the special relationship between the Deputy Prime Minister and this contractor for mansion? Here what happening, the King. The big apartment that is building on East Street, that contractor for mansion is the contractor for that. Where is the contractors and the tradesmen name in constituency 1? All you see the ton load of Spanish. Right? Two. Some windows was replaced in the community.
Are the Spanish nationals?
Yes. You could go there after this show, the King. Well, the job is winding up now, so they don't learn.
But I ask you a question. Are the Spanish, are the nationals of St. Kitts and Nevis?
We ain't sure about that. They're here, but we ain't sure if they are nationals.
Okay.
To the King, some windows was replaced in the Newtown Community Center. The contractor for mansion is who do that job. Where is the tradesman them in Newtown who ain't gonna work? And the contractors them in Newtown.
Okay.
Right? 3, the King. The part that is fenced upon the Kim Collins Highway, the contractor for mansion was the contractor and is the contractor for that. Over in Frigate Bay, the King, the contractor again is doing over there.
So
here you know the King, the contractor for mansion now. It's alleged that he's the contractor for the Bastia High School.
I like that phrase. It's an allegation. So it's alleged.
Yes, that's what I say, alleged.
Alleged. So we don't know for fact. We don't want to go down the road and say, well, Carl Brown say the contractor. We don't want to expose you to any libel suit. So allegation is alleged. That's good.
Alleged. That contractor is the project manager for the Bastia High School. Right? So the question we are asking, what is the special relationship between the Deputy Prime Minister and this contractor for mansion? That he are getting all the work in constituency number 1, and tradesmen up Newtown now, you go up there, they're sitting down, ain't got nothing to do.
I see, Carl Brown. I see.
Right. The other thing is, the King. The guys them that working in the park that do the preparation for the grounds and so, they were complaining bitterly. I went on talk shows and I uttered this, that since up February come right down, they do all this preparation and was not getting through. Well, since Carl Brown put him out on it, the guys them come and inform me just this weekend that they have sent down the money.
So we could call a goat more Carl, right?
Well, you know, that's why everybody bring the information to Carl.
All right, okay. Right.
It's the true representative that makes things, get things done and make it happen.
Appreciate that, right? Yes. And thanks for the update.
King,
thanks for the update.
The music festival.
Make it quick, we have to go to the station break. Go ahead.
Yeah, it went down well. Right? A lot of people came in, but a lot of small business people, like I say, make anything offer it.
Okay.
Yeah. But I am happy for all those who made and those who got jobs and things. The question we are asking now, we hope the paying out costs with all these large crowd didn't foresee much more and what they spend. Or what they're pulling in.
Carl, before these artists came here, they don't get paid. So they worry about that, right?
Yes, we know that.
Okay.
And the thing is, the King, we got to start looking at artists now. Yeah, though they may have good songs and so, we got to start looking at artists when they're calling for these big money. If they could pull 5,000 people from overseas to come here to the festival, we are not talking about our people here. You know our people here are going to attend. But if you're calling for the...
We would have lost our caller. We apologize for that. We now pause for a few kind words from our sponsors.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
You ever hear Earthquake call and say, "Hello, Miss Lee, yes, it's me, Earthquake, I come in Tuesday around 10? No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, hover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the door, we are in the exit. Stairs might broke up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors in an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, nobody run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
This message is sponsored by the Australian Government, AusAid, and produced by NEMA in collaboration with WinFM.
Supermarket shoppers understand that convenience matters. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Ample parking and the widest variety matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Clean, spacious aisles and the highest level of customer service all matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, price matters most. We've renewed our commitment to guarantee the lowest prices in the Federation. Why? Because we understand that in this tough economic environment, price matters most. Shop smart. Shop Value Mart, where price matters most. Farms Estate Nevis and Wellington Road, St. Kitts.
Price matters most.
We've got about 9 minutes, moving up to the midday hour when we wrap things up here. So I want to briefly recap on something I was addressing before Carl made his call. And it was actually about the Atlantic hurricane season, what's happening. I was saying the forecast calls for 17 storms, 9 hurricanes, 4 that will develop into major hurricanes, category 3 or above. And the probability of a major hurricane tracking through the region stands at 56% higher than the long-term average. That's 56% higher. The probability that a major hurricane can affect us, it stands 56% higher than the long-term average. So we bear all that in mind, take the necessary precautions, so we can boast at the end of it, we are blessed because we survive unscathed another Atlantic hurricane season, okay? So don't take this for granted. We have Mango Fest coming up shortly. We've got Restaurant Weeks. These are programs designed for marketing. We have the questions, are these shows profitable? Do we do I forget the word I'm looking for, but an assessment after to see, well, if it's really feasible or not. I want to reiterate, initially, things may have changed, that the music festival was really all about marketing because you're not making any money on these things because you don't have the amount of folks on the ground who can generate these paydays. I'm hearing that it's actually 135,000 US. Some say it's 150 in that vicinity. This is a one act, having nothing to do with the entourage, airfare, accommodations, and other issues. So if you're going to give that to one person, I recall there was some objection to Buja Banton. When he came here, he performed. His salary, we're told, allegedly, it was 300,000 US, 810,000 EC. But that was quite a show. I was there, and I'm saying, but the marketing, because these guys are getting like, can we get, say, even 10% of that for Element Show? No.
No.
No. And I was marveling. I mean, I was in Antigua conducting a judging workshop, and we discussed this. Calypso is an embattled art form. Embattled and belittled art form, and we went to the history of that. But no Calypsonian in his wildest dream could have imagined of waking in.
One of the reasons, Socrates, and you might as well own up to it, that Calypso has not brought in the kind of revenues because remember the history of Calypso as social commentary.
Stigmatized.
And because certain people use Calypso to get up the ladder.
Yeah.
When they got up to the ladder, when the colonialist was taken out of place, and we had our own administrators, people of our own color.
Yeah.
in positions of authority, they have gone out of their way to dumb down calypso. Even so as to tell you that when you're going to come to a show, you have to send your lyrics now and all that kind of nonsense.
Well,
so calypso has sort of been trying to morph, and we have the soca, but because soca is still linked to calypso, and soca has not gone down the way the degregative way of dance hall, soca is still being maligned.
Here's what. Let me go back to a point you raised when it was said that you have to present your lyrics to the committee if you want to compete. That was an attempt to avoid being sued, because there was an artist here who used material from Skinny Fabulous in his song, and he passed. And you had to make sure that if he want to sue, you, the Carnival Committee, by extension, you're suing the government. So that was a measure to prevent that. It wasn't properly articulated.
So let me ask you this then. Does the same go for Trinidad and Tobago, that
Yes.
you have to put your
Yes. Not only that, you have to put the name of the writer of the song.
Okay, so then again, Socrates, the onus is on Calypsonians to inform and educate the public, because I wasn't aware of these things.
That was that. We had a Calypsonian here for 2 consecutive years, bought a song from Trinidad, only to find out that he had sold the same song to another artist who performed it in Trinidad. And somebody informed the committee here, and,
So here, the public felt, myself included, that this was a means
attempted censorship.
Yes, censorship. That is what we felt.
Yeah.
And there's the old saying, where there's no clarity, then...
Adrian Lamb was the one who explained it to me. Adrian Lamb, the late, he explained to me what it was. I don't think the public had a chance for it to be explained to them properly, because no one was on the chairman of Carnival.
Yeah.
And it was discussed at that level.
Yeah, but
Adrian played the 2 tracks for me. They were identical.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Of course.
Where there's no clarity, then speculation runs
wild.
Right.
That is correct.
Okay.
So that was what that was all about.
Yeah.
And since then, but you do now have to present your lyrics to the committee still, for them to know that this is yours, even if you sign a disclaimer. Once you're the promoter of a show, say you're Carnival Committee, you're the
and
promoter.
if your lyrics, let me be devil's advocate. If your lyrics, labor is in power now. So if I write a song and my lyrics are heavily blowsing labor.
Well, I'm coming up. No. Here's what, but they cannot censor you.
That is what I want to
They cannot censor you once your lyrics is not libelous.
Yes.
They cannot censor you, because in today's open SEO, you can make a lot of noise.
Yeah. I just want to be clear on things.
Yeah. So, yes. Fancy had an issue, and he actually stepped away from competition, because the then Minister of Culture and Carnival, Jason Henry Martin, wanted to see his lyrics on the night of the show. Because he said, listen, as long as she's there as minister, I done with competition, and he stepped away.
Yeah.
That was a real life issue, because...
Why did she want to see his lyrics?
She wanted to see his lyrics because they were in control, and they want anything that would paint him in a bad light. And Fancy just walk out the place.
So then you're puzzling me, Socrates.
No. That was before the last incident. Where
so who's to stop them from doing that in the future?
Because that was not a policy.
Oh, okay.
She took it on hold that night to determine that. But the policy came into play when there was a chance of libel of a lawsuit against the government or the producer of the show, because a certain soca artist plagiarized the material, even the melody of a song that was...
So you're saying because it is now stipulated that there's a format, somebody can get up on their own and decide they want to see your lyrics and cause an artist to not take part?
No.
We want clarity, and you're Calypsonian. So when you get here, and I'm here, as long as
if you can answer, I'll answer.
I'm going to ask you the hard questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
No problem. We are just about 1 minute away from close of play today. It's presentation of voices. It's been a pleasure. It's been a great interaction with the callers and the viewers, and let's see what Brenda have to say. Wendy's normally has a contribution. Let's see if we can get it in before we end play today. Let's see what Wendy have today. The phone, please work with me. Let's see. And what did she say now? Oh, different private matter. But thank you to our viewers and listeners on the various platforms across the globe. Next Monday, God's willing, and I'm here and hearty. I'll be here for another presentation, and maybe we'll discuss that whole issue of travel, the challenges we're facing as a Caribbean people throughout the region, from the UK to the US, etc. But I want to wish you peace, love, and a much more wonderful weekend. We have the Sahara dust around the region. There are those who have
asthma.
Yeah, asthmatic, have respiratory problems. Please be careful.
And allergies.
It's with us for a while, but still, we're in a double slice of paradise. Right? Peace.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
That was the WinFM Headline News. The Headline News is brought to you by The Grange and Caribbean.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com. or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
We now bring you the Headline News. The Headline News is brought to you by The Grange and Caribbean.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities,